bring the September 14th, 2015 public meeting of the Fayette County Area Plan Commission to order. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Brenda, would you take roll call, please?
Yes. Brian Jennings.
Here.
Warren Sudoff.
Here.
Mark Flum.
Here.
Leota King. Here. Jason Waterman.
Here.
Ed Harrell.
Here.
Dick O'Neill.
Here.
Gabe Nobby.
Here.
Carl Hilton. You have a quorum.
Next on our agenda is the approval of minutes. The first date of minutes, I don't think we need to do this all at once, can we?
Okay, I think Brenda had some things going on with these, so if you could explain just the ones that you do have.
Okay, I've got the August 10th minutes, which was our last meeting. I also got the May 28th special meeting wind turbine minutes. I just didn't have the August 6th one, and I will send those to you guys this week. I've just had a lot of things going on since our last meeting, so I apologize for that.
Okay, so tonight we will approve the May 28th and the August 10th minutes.
Right.
Okay, looking at the August 10th meeting.
Let's go ahead and do them in time frame order, please.
Yeah.
Let's start with the May 28th.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
Oh, that's quite all right.
May 28th.
I'm not the most orderly, but on occasion I am.
Any discussion in the May 28th minutes?
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes of the May 28th meeting.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor of accepting or approving the minutes of May 28th special meeting, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, May 28th minutes are approved. Now for the August 10th minutes. Any questions or discussion?
Move to accept the minutes as presented.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the minutes from August 10th. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, August 10th minutes are approved. Okay, next on our agenda is the public hearing, petition number 13845 from petitioner Deborah Reebsummer, petition for a home occupation at 457 Oak Street to teach certified nursing assistant classes. Is the petitioner here?
Okay. Mr. Baker, how long do we need to wait? I would recommend is that so that the BZA can still act, that it should be forwarded this evening, even if the petitioner is not here, because then that way it would, because the ultimate decision has to do with the BZA, and I think it still needs to go to the BZA, even if it was with a no recommendation. Would that be the correct course of action, Mr. Baker?
I agree with that, yeah.
Yeah.
It's tabled now, and you want to get it off the table.
Yeah, we need to get it, we really need to get it off the table for everybody involved.
Yeah.
And we did not receive any request, phone call, or written from the petitioner to table again or to pull the petition.
Yeah, I think it's time to proceed.
And,
Can we send it to the BZA with no recommendation?
yes, that is one option, yes. I don't know if the board members in the meantime want to have some discussion on this. Because is there any time frame that we should be, because we've never adopted a time frame in the rules of procedure.
It's reasonable. what's a reasonable period of time to wait, and the circumstances that exist to cause you to table further. And if you've had, for example, a request to table it again, that would be an obvious one. But that hasn't occurred. And you've had nothing that would cause you or to request that the matter be continued further. So apparently, it would appear to me you can go ahead and take action tonight, whichever way you choose.
Okay.
Pardon?
All right, I don't know if Plan Commission members wish to have any discussion or to proceed with with making a recommendation to forward this petition to the BZA for a public hearing.
Bill, has Reed Summer contacted you lately? Do you know of?
Mr. Reeb Summer is here.
Oh, he's here. Okay.
Did some business out of town, just barely got back.
Okay, you were very fortunate. Okay. All right, Mr. Reeb Summer.
If you would please explain what you're wanting to do. with
And particularly, I
your home
think, is
occupation.
if you have anything to clear up, say some of the question marks from the last meeting, those would be beneficial.
Okay, well, there was some mention made of the parking situation. That's, there's, the street there has no restrictions on parking, so there's several parking places on the opposite side of the street. We have two properties, corner property and the second house down. So there's parking available on the street there on that side. But we weren't going to use the one in front of 451 because we were going to allow that for access in to use the yard there, to allow several cars to park in the yard. We don't really anticipate a huge number of students to be there all at the same time, so probably 10 spaces would be like a maximum that we would normally expect to have. But there will probably be times when we'll have even less than that. There were some other questions that I think about. I'm not sure exactly how.
Okay, some of the other questions had to do with the status of whose name the actual registration with the state of Indiana was with. As I know, at one point prior to that meeting, it was strictly under Mrs. Reeb Summers' name. She stated it is no longer strictly under her name.
Right.
But we didn't get anything to verify that that's the case.
Okay.
And then there's some questions that were raised and questions that were made about the officers and the membership of the LLC.
Okay, there's essentially two people involved. It's my wife and her daughter. It's a just family group trying to put together a service to help people prepare themselves to become certified nursing assistants. She had noticed that there was seemed to be a lot of demand in that field, and not too many people providing the training, and so she was qualified and went through the training to be an instructor. So she wanted to make herself available. It's a very small operation.
What hours will the business be open?
Well, she was interested. She wanted to make it available to as many people as she could, so she was going to try to accommodate their hours. If they were able to be there in the morning, then she would try to be there with them. Or if they were able to be there in the evening, she would try to work around that. But to some degree or another, there's probably going to have to be a compromise made, depending on how many people are in the class and what their schedules are. But it wouldn't be we probably wouldn't be starting before maybe 10 o'clock in the morning, and would not be staying late in the evening. It would be just during daytime hours and early evening.
Because in the petition, it had the 9:30, running as late as 9:30.
Yeah. But whatever hour, I mean, it'll be, it's not going to be something that's going to be running through the night or something like that. It's going to be during the time when most people are up and about and going about their business.
Question in the last meeting was brought up that this would be approximately 50 hours for the class over a 6-week period. You would meet 2 days a week, so that's in the neighborhood of roughly 4 hours a day.
Yeah.
Okay.
Approximately.
All right.
Yeah, my wife was interested in having her students come out with sufficient training to be qualified. She didn't want people to come out of the training and then not be able to hold down the position.
Mhm.
So,
Recently, I've seen a sign down by 440 Arians Avenue, and I've been told that there was possibility you were going to hold the classes in one of those rooms there.
well, she wanted to get started, so she took a chance to rent a space there on a temporary basis.
Okay. But still want to get it approved then for her house.
Yes.
Any other questions from members of the board?
Mrs. Reebsummer owns this business, is that right?
Well,
Now, that's what wasn't cleared up and was supposed to have been cleared up at this meeting tonight,
Yeah.
the paperwork to clear that up.
it is a joint operation between her and her daughter. It was originally set up with my wife's name on it.
Excuse me, but my question is, did you bring paperwork, or do we have paperwork to verify? Because that's what the hangup was last month. We were
None was submitted.
Waiting for that clarification.
And I think that all the board members saw the copies of the letter I sent out to Mrs. Reebsummer and asking about those things. Everything else that needed to be cleared up.
I did not have a chance to go home before I came here, and that's where that is. She would have been here to represent herself, but she's not been well. I can step in and do the best I can, but
Any other questions from members of the board?
Mrs. Reebsummer stated that she was qualified and certified to teach this class. Dina said she's been certified by the Red Cross to do the CPR and such. Is she qualified to teach the whole CNR class? Does she,
Dina.
the CNA, yes.
my daughter. There was some mention of that there were some classes that she would be able to teach, but I'm not sure that she can do everything. She can do several of the classes, but not all of them.
Well, we were left with the impression last time that Mrs. Reebsummer was not going to be involved in it. It was going to be Dina and her husband who were going to be doing the class and the teaching.
Well,
And my question was whether they were certified to teach the class totally, because you say your wife is, but we don't know about the other two. Will she be working there too?
Personal services.
She's going to be doing some of the classes. She has a another nurse contracted to do the clinical work at the classroom. Dana's going to be able to teach the CPR and
We had a list on the last application of all the,
several of those things.
which classes she could teach.
But my wife was the one that attended the training course for the CNA. Now, my daughter has quite a wide range of experience in these things, but I'm not sure that she has the certificate. I'm sure that she could probably present the classes because of her background, but I don't know that she has the training. But there was some indication that we weren't able to pin it down, but there was some indication that she would be able to. But I can't absolutely verify that right this moment.
To operate a school like this, do you have to be certified, approved by the state of Indiana?
You have to have a teacher's certificate, teaching certificate. You have to go through an education course.
But does the school have to be certified by the state,
No.
approved by the state?
She gets her approval when she went through a course in Indianapolis at IU.
Med Center?
Well, at the college downtown, and they sent her a certification as a result of taking that course.
Any other questions, members of the board? Okay, thank you, sir. Any discussion among members of the board? Okay, at this time, I'll entertain a motion regarding the home occupation.
I'd make a motion to send it to the BZA with no recommendation,
Second.
the best I could do.
Okay. Any discussion, members of the board? Okay, roll call.
Okay. Brian Jennings,
Yes.
Warren Sudoff,
Yes.
Mark Flum,
Yes.
Leota King,
Yes.
Jason Waterman,
Yes.
Ed Harrell,
Yes.
Dick O'Neill,
Yes.
Gabe Nobby.
Yes.
All in favor?
Okay. We will send this to the BZA. There is no recommendation from this board. Okay. Next on our agenda is the director's report.
3 months worth there, gentlemen and lady. I said lady and gentlemen, excuse me. Got that backwards. Ladies first.
That's good.
Okay, any questions for Bill?
I move to accept the director's report.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the director's report. Signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Okay, director's report is approved. Okay. Any further discussion from members of the board? Hearing none, I will entertain a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Second.
Second. Okay, all in favor of adjournment, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. We are adjourned.
Hand off the table. call the September 14th meeting of the Fayette County Board of Zoning Appeals to order. If you'd all please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you all for coming. Brenda, if we could have a roll call, please.
Yes. Ed Harrell.
Here.
Bill Crawford.
Here.
Carrie Steele. Jason Waterman.
Here.
Kenny Burgess.
Here.
All here except one. You have a quorum.
Good. Next item on the agenda would be the approval of minutes. We have minutes from our meeting on August the 10th. And somehow or other, I have 2 copies of those minutes. Do we have minutes from the August 6th meeting as well?
That's the one, the special
This-
meeting that I
that we
haven't
don't-
got
we
done
don't
yet,
have
but I will be
yet.
sending
Okay.
those out this week.
All right, very good. All right, so we just have the minutes from our August 10th meeting. Do you have comments or a motion?
I make a motion that we accept them as presented.
Have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? All right. Minutes from our meeting of August 10th are now approved. All right, we're going to go ahead and open up public hearings. First is for Deborah Riebshomer at 457 Oak Street, requesting a home occupation exception for, to teach certified nursing assistant classes. So, Mr. Riebshomer, if you come up and tell this board a little bit about what the plans are. I think we were all in attendance at previous meetings, so we're familiar with it, but
Classes in 2 parts, essentially. One is classroom and the other is clinical. It's more hands-on. My wife has recently attended a class in Indianapolis, Indiana University, to receive certification as an instructor for certified nursing assistants. She is a registered nurse with a bachelor's in nursing. She's got many years of experience in the workplace. And she, as I mentioned before, she became aware of a need in the community, and it seemed that there was not enough instruction available for the demand, to meet the demand, so she set about setting up a class to try to meet that demand. She would like to use the house that she already owns to defray some of the costs of putting on the class. So she's attempting to get a home occupation so that she'll be able to use it. The class itself is going to be relatively unobtrusive as far as the neighborhood's concerned. It's really not going to affect the people around it very much, except those that are directly participating. There's essentially 2 people involved putting on the class, my wife and her daughter. And they both had many years of experience in caring the home for people that are disabled or on the Medicaid waiver and other situations that demand personal care. They'd like an opportunity to make this available to the community. And my wife has a desire to make quality training available. She had an instructor one time that impressed upon her that she should sign the work with excellence. So she has always attempted to maintain a high standard.
right now there are 2 properties
Yes.
adjoined there. Petition is for 457 Oak Street.
That's correct.
And who lives at that residence?
Nobody, well, my daughter is using it, but but she's not actually residing there. But the properties, my wife has owned both properties for some years. But we have another property on Walnut Street where we actually reside.
So you live on Walnut and your daughter lives in the other house on Oak Street,
Well,
or adjacent to this?
Okay. The reason why my wife got into this line of work to begin with is because we have a disabled son. And he actually resides at 51.
Okay,
And family takes care of him.
understood.
And where does your daughter live then?
She has a home in Pleasantville.
Isn't that, Bill, part of the requirement that they
Yeah,
have to
someone
live in
living
the
there,
home?
yeah. So neither the
Well,
individuals
she-
involved actually
Yeah.
lives in the dwelling.
She has the, she's renting it from my mother, for my wife rather. And, I guess I said that she doesn't live there because she spends so many hours at work. You know, so
Okay. Is the Pleasant View address her legal address then?
that's her mailing address.
Her mailing address, your
I believe that's-
daughter's mailing address is the
Yeah.
Pleasant View address?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But,
So nobody's living there though, right?
well,
It's either yes or no.
yes, I mean, she has the property, so she's, like, she's operating out of there, you know, so I guess you could say she lives there. But the thing is, she's constantly on the go. You know.
Anybody else have any questions?
Oh, yeah. It seems like, from watching the last meeting, it seems like when the board would ask questions about something that's said, then it gets changed, where, okay, now, yeah, somebody is living there. No, nobody's living there. Yeah, somebody's living there. Do you, so I've been around a long time. Jason, you have too. We've never ever seen anybody ask for 2 houses for a home occupation to begin with. You've got 2 houses. You've got multiple teachers. Can you tell me how many people there will be teaching classes?
My wife will be teaching the CNA, and my daughter is going to be offering classes in,
It seems like this isn't going
Yeah,
very well for him
yeah,
because he
in,
doesn't he doesn't have the people that need to answer the questions. So.
What it is that occasionally I have a mental block. She has, so she's certified to teach
CPR?
CPR. That's the word I'm searching for. I'm sorry.
Okay. And she said something about what is the son-in-law supposed to teach?
He has some instruction in personal care.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what's his background with that? As far as any education or certifications related to
Yes,
teaching
he's
personal care?
certified as an instructor. And I'm trying to remember the exact name of but he can instruct people in caring for people in the home. And my daughter has CPR, and she's also able to do the test for tuberculosis and a couple other things too.
So will she be doing that at the home too?
Yeah.
So what is that?
What they're going to be doing is offering a range of things to prepare the people for to be seen, nursing assistants. Because there's many situations where nursing assistants want to be in a situation where they're going to need to have CPR, and then almost every position that they'll hold, they'll have to be tested for tuberculosis.
So she would be teaching people how to test for
Well, actually,
tuberculosis?
she would be offering that course as a, she'd be offering that as a service, basically, to get them tested. And I don't,
So she would be testing for tuberculosis?
right, yeah. Okay. And she also has a couple others. They both are certified as personal care trainers. But they've both been at this for better than 10 years. And they started out as providing personal care for my son. And they gradually picked up training as they went along in order to provide the care that he required.
I guess what I don't mean to be grilling you.
Yeah,
I don't want it
I
to
know.
seem like that, but it just seems like testing for tuberculosis as a home occupation is just
Well,
far-fetched. You know,
it's part of what's involved in becoming a CNA. I mean,
Right.
you really can't really go to work unless you have had that test done.
I don't know if that part of it really concerns us anyhow. I mean, that's a whole another department somewhere else. I think we need to look more at the zoning issues that's involved in it, unless you're saying that because it's not zoned for that type of medical building.
well, that's what I'm getting at. I
That's
think
where
we're
you're
getting
going with
into
it. Okay. All right.
hazardous material,
Right.
that kind of area. You know, I mean, we're not talking about building birdhouses
Yeah.
or sharpening knives. We're into testing for tuberculosis. It just seems kind of nuts. Okay, so you've got CNA, CPR, personal care. Okay, I think we've got down here first aid and universal precautions class.
Right. Which, again, those are part and parcel of CNA training.
Okay. Personal assistant, homemaker classes.
Yeah. All that goes along with caring for people in the home that are unable to care for themselves.
Okay, now, and again, who are the people that are going to be giving these
those things
classes?
that, well, any one of them can teach those courses. They've all been trained in all those things.
Okay,
The only one that's specific is the CNA, and that one was one my wife just completed the training on. And this was actually an audit because she had had the training prior to that too. She just updated it recently.
Okay, so you're Deborah, that's your wife?
That's correct.
Okay, and your daughter or stepdaughter?
Is Dina Du Bois.
Okay, she'll be giving classes, some, whatever of these.
Right.
And then,
And they will probably be staggered so that there would be more than one class going on at the same time.
okay,
Yeah.
and then it would be her husband giving classes?
Probably less, but from time to time, perhaps.
And do you give
No,
not anything?
I'm not certain.
So we're talking would it be, 3 people, how many employees, so I guess you could count her.
That's,
So it'd
yeah,
be- or-
they're, okay, my daughter and her husband both are the primary owners of the business. My
Right.
wife retains a small percentage.
Okay.
Like 5%. Okay. So, I guess you could say they're all participants in the business, but my son may step in and do an occasional class, but he's occupied most of the time with his own other occupation.
Is that who we were just talking about?
That's
Dina's
Jonathan. That's Dina's husband.
husband?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so it looks like 3 people.
Yeah, altogether, but
There's nobody else that comes in.
no. Now,
Where's
we
this?
are gonna have another person I mentioned to you before, a nurse who's been contracted to do the clinical training, but that won't be going on at the house. We're gonna have the facilities of a nursing home that's gonna be available for her to do the clinical training.
Okay. Okay, and in the houses, you've got 2 houses, you're gonna have classes
Okay.
explain to everybody where these classes are gonna be.
The classes are gonna be held in the front part of 57. 51 is, because it's her property, she's gonna make it available for additional parking. But the classes will not be going on inside 51, because that's the residence of my son.
Okay, it won't be going on the north,
The northernmost house is on the corner, that's 57,
right,
457.
so classes will be in that one.
That will be in that one. The other one is going to just be, use part of the property as additional parking space.
So you're not gonna use the house,
No,
just the front yard as a parking lot.
correct.
Okay. So this has changed so much since we started. How many vehicles are we talking about now? Let's start talking about the vehicles a little bit.
The course, the state recommends that the course be limited to about 10 people. So, we're talking about 10 cars or
We're talking about 10
10 vehicles.
students, okay.
10 students, and that would be potential for 10 vehicles.
Plus employee vehicles.
Yeah, that's where I'm going. So
Well-
plus your own personal vehicles.
We have spaces available on the property that would not be practical for the students, but we can use them.
Okay. Yeah, this is your diagram, right? Well, I have-
The driveway goes on back behind the house, so we can park our cars behind the house,
This house.
yes.
Yeah.
And even through the the driveway at 51, around behind the house, there's space for
now
us to
you've-
park our personal vehicles.
Now, you've already widened this, it says.
Well,
in-
it's, yes, when she had it gravelled, she
Yeah.
made it wider than it originally was.
so we can get more cars in there.
And,
That's what she said,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah.
And then in the yard, you've taken out, what was it called? A flower bush.
yeah, it was a large flowering bush that spread out quite a bit.
Yeah, so you've taken
Yes.
out a large flowering bush
Uh-huh.
so you can park cars in
Right.
there.
Correct.
And just in this yard, okay, I went ahead and took the liberty to paint this yellow. That's the city sidewalk. Okay, you've got your cars parked right on top of the city sidewalk. I don't know if you noticed that to start with. Okay, and even in our ordinances and our rules, you have to be back behind the setback, which is what, 25 feet, Bill? So you'd have to be 25 feet within the sidewalk. You couldn't park cars out there anyway, to there. You see where I'm going? We're taking out flowering bushes to make room for vehicles. We're taking a normally quiet dead-end road that very few vehicles go on that road. Now we've got, let's say, 10 vehicles that are going to go. That's actually 20 trips, because you go in, you get a turnaround, you have to find some place to turn around in somebody's driveway, somebody's down and to get back out. So then they're coming back out. So each one of these cars, every day they come in, they're opening their doors and they're shutting their doors. You can see how that would disturb your neighbors.
In this right here, I have not used the driveway for parking. It can be used, there's sufficient space for this car to come out and pass between here.
But again, this is
Exit.
your front yard,
Yeah.
your grass,
Yeah,
right?
okay. And it's also available as a turnaround.
Well, not for, yeah, I see where you're going. You're
Yeah.
trying to say that you can turn around here, but not if you're parked down farther. So you know, I went up there the other day to look, and I get to the end of the road, and at the end of the road, there's an apartment complex down there. And so we turned around in there, and they didn't like it that I was in there turning around. So I stopped and talked to them, and there was kids everywhere in that gravel parking lot for that apartment complex. And I told her why I was there, and I apologized for turning around in her driveway, and she just lives there. Parsley, is that right? Who owns
Matthew Parsley, yeah.
Who owns the property? I don't know. She's totally against it.
It's Dave Parsley's son, if anybody knows
Okay.
Dave.
Totally against it, and just for that reason, you've got a lot of children in there. You're going to have a lot of people. Wherever you park these cars in your front yard or wherever, they're still going to have a number of them are going to go all the way down the end and turn around in people's driveways every single day. They're going to go down into this and turn around. He's going to be bringing in more gravel because he's going to be packing down the gravel. They're going to be worried about their kids. They've already told me they're worried about that now, and. You have to admit that there would be a problem with that, wouldn't you think?
People going to other properties do the same thing on a daily basis.
Not in that volume though, that's what Kenny's trying to get to is, we're just increasing the volume on a little small dead-end street to, you know, all those trips back and forth.
Yeah,
And that's what the concern is.
Yeah, home occupations normally are basically one-on-one. You know, you can look at the list of all the things that are allowed, or it gives samples of what businesses would go in home occupation. It's all meant for one-on-one, basically. It's not groups and groups of people. And it seems like that's the problem that I have with this, is we're going to pull in up to, and I know it's not all the time, but up to 10 different people are going to come in on a regular basis, day after day after day, and it's on a one-way road, which I know it was talked about last meeting a month ago that was a good thing because there's not as much traffic, but in a way I think that's a bad thing because each person that goes in there is going to find a way to get back out and come back out, and I don't know of anybody that would want that in their neighborhood, to have something like that would be bringing in that many vehicles.
I think the number one issue is just the mere fact that it's not a residence. I mean, I know you kind of hinted around that might be, it might not be, but it's not. That's what it is. I mean, you can tell it's not. And it's not intended to be a residence at that point. And that's one of the top standards here, is that it has to be for residential use as a side, you know, job type occupation. And like Kenny's saying, most home occupations are one person in, one person out, one person in, one person out. And, you know, with appointments type things, where this is going to be an all-day affair, or, you know, depending on the class sizes and class times. So I think just for that mere fact, I would recommend that we deny this home occupation. I'd like to make that a motion.
Well, I
Not
need to
yet.
point out a legal
Okay.
aspect of what you just referred to. If it, to have a home occupation, the applicant must reside in the home,
Yeah.
is what you're
Yeah,
saying.
that's what I'm saying.
And I think that's what the ordinance provides for. But if the applicant doesn't reside in the home, then you're back to a situation where you're using a home for business or commercial, that is not zoned for that type of application.
Yep.
So I think you're kind of in a circle here.
Yeah.
And I think what stops it is to determine whether or not it's a home occupation or not. To wit, does the owner of the real estate reside, that is, live in the real estate, and therefore, is she entitled to apply for a home occupation in that real estate, something that fits the category of home occupation?
Would this be a case where, you know, typically it's referred to in the court cases, but would this sort of be inappropriate, say, loosely using standing to actually apply for the permit
Well,
or to petition? Because if someone doesn't actually live there, they're not meeting the, you know, the basic, as Bill said, the primary standard with the home occupation.
yeah, I thought we clarified that the last meeting, and then that was no longer a problem. But we've heard testimony this evening that is contrary to what we heard last week. That's my understanding anyway. So that concerned me because of the legalities of it.
Well, and then you throw in the rest of the parking and the traffic and, you know, some of the other issues that's coming. I think it just multiplies it out to where I don't feel like we should pass it.
So, John, we have a question here about whether or not we're even eligible to even have an application for a home occupation in front of us.
Yeah, I think,
What should we do?
yeah, I think there could be an application. Then you have to determine whether or not,
They meet the criteria.
yeah, it qualifies.
Okay.
And I think
So that's question number one.
the former board sent it with no recommendation.
Correct.
And so it's up to you to act one way or the other, as you know. And, but it is a problem. If there's no home occupation, then it stops there. I think that's as far as we can go.
Okay. All right, so Bill, you had a motion?
Yeah.
Well, actually, you need to close the discussion first.
True enough.
Before you ask for a motion.
All right, do we have any other discussion? Anyone in the audience? All right, close the discussion. Now,
Okay.
you have a motion?
I'd make a motion that we deny the home improvement or home occupation application due to the owner of the home occupation not residing in the residence and the other issues of parking.
Okay. You have a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Brenda? Did you get all that?
Yeah. Ed Harrell,
Yes.
Bill Crawford,
Yes.
Jason Waterman.
Yes.
I'm looking at my list. Kenny Burgess. Sorry, I went looking that way.
Yes.
Okay, we have a quorum.
All right. So the motion to deny carried,
Yes, by a vote of 4-0.
4-0. All right. Well, I heard correctly, the previous meeting, your wife and daughter are working out of another office, at least what they initially thought would be temporary, so I wish them well with that. I hope they can find something permanent, but as it stands tonight, that house 457 is not going to be it, at least as a home occupation. Thank you. Okay, next public hearing. Pardon me if I butcher this. Dennis Knipfler, 415 West 19th Street, requesting a variance from development standard for a rear yard setback for an accessory structure. So, fill us in a little bit about what's the situation.
Yes, I, a few months ago designed this structure for the back of the house. And acquired a builder to help us with that. He said he could easily build this structure for us and build it safely. So we waited 3 months to get a concrete pad down. About 3 months, I mean, so it took almost the entire summer to do that. And we had the post cemented into the foundation and into the driveway and all that. So this structure is supposed to be a pergola or a kind of an open-aired covered patio. We're also using it as a carport. Could potentially park up to 4 cars, but probably 2. So my wife, who drives to Cincinnati, in the winter months, it would be nice to be able to park under a structure to keep the frost off the windows and she could warm up the vehicle inside the structure like that. And we wanted it to be as like a little party room too, things like that with the hospital, so where they work right across the street at Fayette Regional as a surgeon there. But so we were trying to do these upgrades to the house. We did a lot of things interior last year, planning on doing the external this year, as well as landscaping and all that. So I had this builder, I asked him, do we need some kind of permit for this? He said, an open-air structure, it should be just fine. I gave him the dimensions. I wanted it to be 20 feet wide by 24 feet long. It could have been positioned anywhere in my backyard there, there's plenty of room for that. He placed it, as you can see in the variance there, 46 inches from my south fence. And when I look at the other structures in my neighborhood, that same lady that owns that south fence line with me, her garage is only 48 inches from that same fence. And then she has a second home on my eastern fence that's actually only 20 inches away. In fact, her roof comes over my fence. So I thought 46 inches seemed, where he placed it seemed to be what's normal. I don't know what the laws are in the city here. I'm a new resident of Connersville, and I've been here a little over a year and a half. And I trusted my builder to place it where it needed to be. So when he left the job midstream, just I guess he couldn't get along with my wife, who's a sweet lady. But we are really good people. We pay our bills up front or right on time. But he was just kind of lackadaisical, and so he and my wife got into it a little bit. So he just left the job, just left. And then my next builder, who came on out of courtesy, called him and said, "Listen, I'm going to be taking over Dr. Knepfler's job here. I just want to let you know out of courtesy that that's what the homeowner wants to do." And then that previous builder, I don't want to mention any names because that's their livelihood, said, well, you might have a problem with that because there's not a building permit on that property. So the very next day we get the call that there's a variance problem with our southern border. Now, since that time, my sweet neighbor, Grace Knight, is a sweet 96-year-old lady, and we check in on her all the time. She's a sweet lady. She has no problem with where the structure lies. She agrees that it's going to improve the value of the neighbors' properties. It's going to give us more parking, that we will have parking now on our back of our house instead of on the front on 19th Street, where there's a lot of traffic with the middle school. So I think the structure will actually help the community. And if anyone's been by our property, you'll see it's a lovely structure. So I'm sorry about the misunderstanding about its location, but it's only about a foot from what your laws require, and I think it'll be an asset to the community. But,
it's beautiful. You should be proud.
Yeah.
I mean, besides not having the right permit.
Yeah.
Don't be proud of that.
But, so I just asked for your consideration on that.
Yeah, and when I stopped by to speak with the builders, is on a Friday and the very next business day, Dr. Knopfler and his wife, they were actually waiting outside of the office before it opened. And they're kind of gobsmacked.
What?
Gobsmacked.
Yeah.
I can see, like you said, from going up there and looking at it, where you would automatically think it was okay because all the buildings around you are in that
Everything's
situation.
Close
So,
to the fence lines.
so
It's a very small lot
Yeah.
to begin with.
Yeah.
But Bill, can I about gazebos and pergolas and I have to admit, as far as a gazebo, you have to have a permit for a gazebo.
Okay, once you hit...
This isn't a gazebo. But
no, once you hit for these different types of structures, 200 square feet.
it's got to do with the size. Yeah.
Now, if it's something that's going to be attached to the house, it's a different story.
Now this is
Yeah, because this is freestanding. If it's something
Right.
freestanding, like a gazebo, you're putting it out there, something like that. It's or a picnic structure, 200 square feet's the magic number.
Even if it's just in
Ours is, I think it's 20 by 24, it's
Yeah.
480 square feet.
Yeah.
100.
Any other questions?
200 square feet's not very usable.
And again, it's an open building, so there's no walls. It's open. You plan on leaving it open.
And the roof line is way higher than our neighbor's roof line. So if you just drove by, you'd think it's 10 feet at least from that other structure because it's 15 feet high, whereas a neighboring garage roof is only 8 feet or 10 feet high. So when you look at it by eye, you wouldn't think it's that close to the fence line. It's an
Yeah.
open air structure as well, so there's no walls coming up alongside of it.
So visibility.
Because the neighbor's
is-
building is where Knight's Gun Shop was located for years and years.
One of the things, how far, I guess I missed that when I was up there, how far exactly is the roof line from that present structure?
The wall structure is 46 inches. Now, the roof sticks over about another, when the cable comes down
Right.
over the structure, I think is about maybe a foot, 9 inches, 8 inches.
Okay.
down.
All right. Any other questions? If not, we'll close discussion. I'll entertain a motion.
I move to approve.
Okay, we have a second?
I'll second it.
All right, thank you. Brenda?
Okay, Ed Harrell,
Yes.
Bill Crawford,
Yes.
Jason Waterman.
Yes.
And Kenny Burgess.
Yes.
Okay, all in favor.
Well, thank you very much for coming in and getting everything cleared. I wish it had been taken care of properly the first time, but you made it good, so I appreciate that very, very much.
When you said deep down,
Cooperate.
because you
Yes.
got a nice structure there.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
we want it to be our permanent home, so we're
Yep.
really fixing it up well.
That's
And-
fantastic. Thank you.
And your wife, Ms. Crumpler, can come on in and take care of the building permit tomorrow morning.
Can I do that tomorrow morning?
Yes, you may.
8:30 or so?
Absolutely. We'd love to get this out of the way.
You can call my builder tonight and then
Mhm.
we'll break it
Yep.
tomorrow.
Yeah, you can let Austin know.
All right,
Now, Bill,
thank you.
explain to people about whose
We're missing
responsibility.
a leg here.
Okay. The, okay, the ultimate responsibility for making sure there's permits really ultimately falls with the property owner. But most property owners rely on the experience and the information of the contractor. So most people, when you hire a contractor, you expect that the contractor will know if it needs a permit, and because actually, over 50%, I think Bill can verify it's still the same, there's probably over 50% of the people that get permits, is the contractors are picking the permits up for them.
That's what my last bill said, if you would have gotten a permit for me.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen Mr. Nesbitt's customers come in.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Have a good night.
Thank you. All right, any other items before we hear about the director's report?
Yeah, you want me to read it line by line, don't you?
No, I do not. All right, anything, director's report?
I'll make a motion, we accept it as presented.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed? All right, if nothing else, and a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Okay, did you hand me the
Yes.
signed BZA minutes?
Yes,
Are you sure?
I think so.
Positive?
I don't know. You'll get them at one point or another.
Here.
Okay. We have a motion on the floor. All in favor? Aye. Meeting adjourned.